Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, not Hello Greedo. Even though I really look like him when I dress like this. Oh, are you saying it's too much? Is this too much? Star Wars? I apologize. Here, let me fix that. Is that better? I've had this for years. You remember the Stormtrooper videos I did eons ago? I remember. That's the reason I got the full-on Stormtrooper uniform. I could be 501st certified if it fit better. But I really want to get an AT-AT driver uniform. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I love that some people are all like, hey, why are you suddenly into Star Wars? Are you kidding? I've been into it for a hell of a lot longer than the internet's been around, that's for sure. This is bigger than my birthday. I love Star Wars more than my birthday. Why? Well, because I'm getting older. I hate being reminded of that. So I kind of wanted to talk today in Pirillo Picks, doing it live with the patrons. I wanted to talk today not just about you possibly becoming a patron by going over to chrispirillo.com. Okay, now we got that out of the way. What Star Wars means to me, why I love Star Wars so much, and how I really kind of grew up Star Wars. I've mentioned this in the past, and if you watch the vlogs, and I assume you do, you may have seen that I've had a fascination with figures forever, but I'm specifically going and recollecting the vintage Star Wars figures that Kenner had produced back in the day. And I have quite a few more to go. You may have seen in recent Pirillo Picks videos, these daily show and tell geek hauls, I've had them growing back here. These aren't all of the ones that I have that are complete, but they are ones that I was saving for today to kind of showcase. I am this far along, and this isn't all of the figures that I need to get, even though Yak Face is there in the corner, and I do have a Yak Face, but he is a recard, and I do want to save up for probably an AFA-graded Yak Face, as well as potentially another Blue Snaggletooth. I have Blue Snaggletooth and Yak Face as well. Max Rebo, Ice Noodles, and Drooping McCool are not on here. I would also count the Rancor, the Wampa, the Dewback, the Tauntaun, but specifically the figures of the figurines. These are the ones that I don't yet have, the ones that are not marked out in white. Or I do have them, and they're in good condition, prime condition, C9 or C10, and they don't have the original weapons. So I'm just basically looking to recomplete my collection. Back in the day, as I now move that out of the way, so I'm just saying, like, if you know where I can get really super high quality condition Star Wars action figures or vintage items, you just let me know. I know where I can go on average, but I like dealing directly with collectors. I wanted to show you what I got here. Here's Reese, and this one I actually received today. And when I talk about the quality of a vintage figure, I mean, these things are loose. I'm not looking to get carded figures. That would be incredibly expensive. I always liked Reese because it's an alien. I was a fan of aliens and anything with a helmet or monsters and cyborgs, and I think you probably know that by now. I did remember getting Reese on card because it was a Return of the Jedi figure, but unfortunately it did not survive over time, and I lost pretty much all of my original accessories. This one is just in top condition, top shape. I was so surprised, and made a pretty good deal. I belong to a few different Facebook groups wherein we basically trade and sell and you know, connect with other collectors. Sorry, I'm getting ready to bag these things because I'm not going to showcase my vintage collection as it's rebuilt up until I get all of them again, and then I'm probably going to clear off one of the shelves downstairs and showcase them all together. Maybe get some shadow boxes, and I'm kind of excited for that. I'm really excited for that. This is another one that I just got today. And you'll notice that not only, well, maybe you won't be able to notice, the limbs are tight. Super, super tight. So that, to me, is prime. Also, not a lot of paint scrapes. Original accessory, not a repro, not a reproduction. And generally speaking, no discoloration. And so that, to me, is where I'm trying to drive my collection. Outright, I wouldn't necessarily say that this was ever my favorite figure because of the human likeness, but it was something that I needed to have a complete collection. The challenge when it comes to explaining what it was like before the internet is that I don't remember ever getting one of these Rebel Commanders on card. I remember trading for so many, and so my original vintage collection, though it was complete, was not in excellent shape. Now, I showed my Ninja the other day, and it's in okay condition. I wouldn't consider it in good enough condition to stick within my primary vintage Star Wars collection. This is another one I just got today with Weapon, and it was so... It is amazing when you connect with someone who gets collectors, who doesn't price gouge, and who gives you a really good deal. And that's when you get a good figure. I remember getting him on card, loving, of course, the design, even though he didn't really look a lot like he did in the movie. That didn't matter. It had nothing to do with it. It was always such a thrill to get a new Star Wars figure, and I don't know if I ever would have been able to pull through if I had to keep my figures carded. Some people did. I couldn't do it. I certainly couldn't afford it. That's for sure. And part of that reason why I mean, you know, I just grew up differently than a lot of people did. Bib Fortuna, also in good shape. There's the accessory as well. And this was, I wouldn't necessarily say my favorite alien. I never really, it kind of creeped me out. Let's face it. Twi'leks, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, but you know what? I needed this figure for my collection, and of course for the recollection. Most of the figures that I have are beaters. That's kind of how they're described in certain circles, like you know, the ones that just aren't necessarily in great condition. But the good news is, as I may have my older figures, even though the collection is no longer complete, Jedi will be able to play with them as well. And so I'm going to basically be giving my older Star Wars figures to Jedi. There's an Imperial officer with a very classic, I don't know if you can see it, the blue gun that came with so many of these figures. I remember the one that I got, can't remember if I got him on card, but I remember taking his feet and putting it on a light bulb and seeing the plastic burn in the smoke. So he wasn't exactly minty. I did my best to keep them in good condition, though. I really did. But I didn't have a choice in many ways. I mean, you just got lucky if you saw the figure that if you saw a figure, A, and B, if you saw a figure that you needed. And sometimes you just got another one, or you traded for a duplicate, because inevitably you could trade for yet another duplicate. Now, my Admiral Akbar that I showed off is not this one. This is a newer one, better condition. Some minor scrapes, but it also has the weapon, also very, very tight limbs. The Admiral Akbar I got was one that I mailed away for before we knew what or who Admiral Akbar was. We didn't know anything. It was before Return of the Jedi was released, so we could only use our imagination. And that's really something that I wanted to explain to a lot of people, especially those who are either new to the fandom or kind of grew up in a different era. I honestly, I mean, I've seen Star Wars enough times, but I could tell you that I haven't seen the movie infinite amount of times, because we didn't have that as an opportunity back in the day. We couldn't. Like, if it wasn't in theaters, we didn't see it. Maybe we got lucky and it ran on TV, but even then, I was way more excited to play Star Wars and imagine being in the realm of Star Wars, or the world of Star Wars, thanks to the toys and maybe the vehicles somewhat, but it was largely imagining, you know, playing, we're on Cloud City, and I'm sorry, I was getting Lobot's gun affixed. Pretty good Lobot, or as good as I would expect. Not a lot of discoloration. It's a variant. There are variants across the board. That's not something that I'm necessarily interested in. I just want the full figure collection. Not going to worry about variants at this stage. More just the completeness and having them in good condition. But having the toys helped, having the figures helped, but a lot of my Star Wars was up here. It was in the imagination. It was with play, and I just loved it. I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. So it wasn't the movies that really, you know, was a large part of what Star Wars was to me. It was the toys, it was the camaraderie, it was the story, it was the characters, it was the play, and I wish I could better explain that to people who never really understood what it was like to grow up in the 80s, certainly. Bosk, one of the bounty hunters, we've certainly seen this character reproduced several times over, unlike a Lobot, which you don't usually see a lot of, or a Bib Fortuna necessarily. Bosk. He was, if I remember correctly, I remember seeing a lot of Bosks in stores, but you only need one. I only needed one. Save my money for the one that I didn't need, and I needed to collect all of them. I needed to collect all of them. This is something that I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish this collection. And really, honestly, I'm not joking. Even though I had a full figure collection, they weren't in great condition. And for the ones I had to trade for, I don't remember getting the original weapons to. For example, this Bespin Guard. I don't remember having... I remember having to trade for him and not getting the weapon. So I don't even know if I can really say I had a complete collection now. Now that I think about it, that's kind of depressing. Because that was something I prided myself in. It was something that I loved. I loved having. I loved seeing what Star Wars figures other people had. I've talked about my story with the blue snaggletooth, a few times over, and I ended up getting one on Diana's first visit to Seattle. It was something I was trying to explain to her what it meant when I saw a blue snaggletooth. Not great. It was not AFA graded or anything, but I'm like, no, this is it. It was, something that I had seen at a friend's house, and I was thrown off. I'm like, that's not blue snaggletooth. Or I'm sorry, that's not a Star Wars figure, because there is no snaggletooth that's tall and that's blue and that has boots. Like, the only snaggletooth that exists is the shorter one that's purple and that you can see his feet. Well, there's a story behind that I've gone into at points in the past. I'm sorry, I'm holding on to 8D8. I remember opening this one. I love the droids. I love the droids. This is not mine. I wouldn't even say that it's in great condition. This is probably more of a C7, C8. So even though I'm going to consider this as a part of the collection I'm building now, I'm probably going to be looking for a better 8D8. And then Jedi will get the other ones. They become, figures that I could use for toy photography, or the Jedi gets to play with, right? But until then, this one is going to be fine. IG-88. I don't remember opening IG-88. I'd imagine I probably traded for IG-88. And he was in good condition, like when I was younger. Not necessarily amazing condition. Another one of the bounty hunters, an assassin droid. I certainly didn't have his weapons. But the thing that really threw me off back then was not being able to find blue snaggletooth on the card. Like, if it wasn't on the card, or if it wasn't in the booklets, like the booklet that I just showed you, if it wasn't in the checklist, it didn't exist. I felt like Jocasta knew, right? If it wasn't in there, it wasn't a thing. Like, this was definitive. And there was a whole story behind that. It was effectively a figure that was produced and then pulled in a Sears playset, and it's very, very rare, and it's certainly a chase piece for a lot of collectors. Gamorrean Guard. I never really learned how to pronounce half the names because they were never pronounced in the movies. Always liked these guys. In fact, when Kenner got the license to do Robin Hood figures, I believe they took the same mold minus the head, and gave it to Friar Tuck. Everything became the Friar Tuck base from this guard from Return of the Jedi. Not mine. I mean, this is mine now, but it's not. This is not the original that I had growing up. It was always difficult too when you live in a household with more than one kid, and you don't want to get your figures messed up, because inevitably your figures can get confused between people. So what Mom decided to do was something that effectively ruined a lot of my Star Wars figures now in terms of collectability, and I can't consider them a part of the Prime collection. She wrote our initials on the feet, like C or A or B. This is a power droid, gonk droid, legs still click, sticker, pretty good condition. I would probably, I mean, there's some paint scrapes. It is definitely a bit older. Paint scrapes on the feet and the coloring there. I'd probably be keeping my eye out for another one if I can find one in better condition at a good price. But this is still something that I remember having, but not nearly in the condition that this one is, despite being just as old. I mean, it just depends on where they come from, or if it came from a kid or a collector or someone in between. Sometimes finding power droids that still have the clickiness to their legs is a bit of a challenge. I'm also not a fan. The power droid, you noticed, had a sticker. I'm not a fan of stickers on anything, because sometimes now finding an R2-D2 that's in good condition is all about the sticker, and even the clicky on the head, but the sticker can be a challenge. I took a picture of this Chief Chirpa. These were very common. I remember seeing these things everywhere. Like, I think everybody had like 2 or 3 Chief Chirpas. Like, they made so many Chief Chirpas. These I know were insanely common. But this isn't mine. I'm sorry. It is mine now. I gotta get over saying that. I'm saying this is not the one I grew up with. Still a vintage figure. Absolutely. One of the bigger problems, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, I mentioned the word repro. The bigger problem sometimes in dealing with people online is sometimes you get, figures are a bit more difficult to reproduce, but weapons are it's replete. People will claim they're selling something online and they'll say, original weapon, but the weapon, you don't know. It could be a reproduction. So that's the reason why when I'm buying these figures, I'm doing it through people that I can trust, because I don't want a repro weapon. Now this is one I bought online. This one's okay. The Rebel Soldier from Hoth. It's okay, but the problem is, and I don't even know if the camera's going to be able to pick that up. I didn't notice this when I bought it. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but there's a little blue smudge there on his left leg. There's a blue marking, and I don't know if it's going to come in focus necessarily, but it's perceivable up close. I don't know if you can tell there's blue there on that leg, but there's absolutely some blue smudge there. So I'm wanting to find another Rebel Soldier, if I can, one that's in better condition, and then this one, kind of moves on down the line. Jedi can have her own full collection of beaters until she's ready, until she's mentally prepared for a collection that she can manage on her own. The good news is there are a lot of loose figures out there, varying degrees of quality. But once you kind of decide what you're going to collect, how you're going to collect it, where you're going to go through, and what the best price for any particular figure might be, well, then you've got a good starting point. 2-1B. Now, this is one that I remember trading for, but I can't remember if it even, the one that I got even came with the connector between the body and his head, or if it did, I know I lost it, and I certainly didn't have the weapon, or the accessory, never had it. Medical Droid, 2-1B. You saw him at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. Wasn't necessarily a fan of the color. It's colors mean something to me, but I was a fan to have, I needed a complete collection. I wasn't the only one. Like, you couldn't just have like 2 Star Wars figures. Okay, I couldn't just have 2 Star Wars figures. AT-AT Commander, really good condition, and the thing to note about a lot of these, especially the older ones, the nose is still painted. Sometimes these figures suffer from getting the paint scraped, specifically like on the nose, or even on the hair or the brow at times, depending on the figure, of course. And I'm being pretty picky about that. I wasn't as much a fan of the AT-AT Commander as the AT-AT Driver, but I am, believe it or not, I am still going to be looking for a better AT-AT Driver to put in the collection, because my AT-AT Driver, the thing that started it all for me at 99 cents back in the day, is fine as is. Because you can't replace that. It's invaluable. I got to find one in better condition, with fewer paint scrapes than the one that I have, but even mine today is still in good condition. It has more sentimental value. FX7, don't remember getting this on card, and I think by the time I got a hold of it, the arms, or whatever you would call them, had some of it snapped off or pulled up, and some people, when they get these collections, these arms are like flayed out. The way to kind of fix that, I guess, is to use hot water. But the head swivels, comes up, turns, pivots, and there's the arm. You know, I would have taken a beater figure, though, back in the day. I didn't have a choice. I needed that figure to complete the collection. I wish I could explain that. Maybe I have explained that fully. I'm just showing you everything that I've got recently. And I'm going to be, continuing to get these, so you may see other vintage figure hauls in the near future as I go even further in completing my loose vintage C9 plus condition collection. And then if I, see one in better condition, like this Dengar's okay. I would say maybe slight discoloration on the backpack, but not horrible, not horrid, not bad, but certainly doesn't, strike me as something that I need to replace immediately. But let's say I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, that one's in better condition than the one I have. I'm probably going to grab it over time and then replace the one that wasn't in as good condition as the other one with the new one. The collection never ends, but I'm really excited about this. This is, you want to know, Star Wars is more than just this to me. It's everything. And I was told by someone recently, yes or no on the Revenge of the Fifth pin with Vader. Oh, hang on, Nicole's. Can you tweet me the image? I don't know if I have it. 'Cause if it's new, if it's brand new, then yes. I don't know because I collected the Vader pin, or Vader pins. I don't see it. One pin, Revenge of the Fifth with Vader. Can I see a picture? Because then I tell you whether or not I have it. Oh, Nicole, if she's still watching, build a droid for me. That's why I every time you go to, I need a droid because gotta have a droid collection. Let's save the Ewoks to the end. Rebel Commando. Now, I remember this. I remember getting this. This is not the one I grew up with. See some paint there on the back. I don't know if is that smudge. I gotta be careful because I don't want to make it worse, but it'll be fine. I remember getting this for Christmas and sneaking downstairs and pulling the figure out of the stocking and then holding it up next to the lights next to the window to see which figure it was. And so I remember getting my Rebel Commando at Christmas. I remember a lot, from where I got individual figures. Maybe not all of them necessarily, but a great deal of them. In fact, one of the figures that I almost parted with, had I thought about it, was Han Solo and Bespin fatigues, or his Bespin gear. What he's not in great condition now, but I remember getting him, and I remember going to a store when my brothers and I were with my grandparents, and had I thought ahead, I would have, because we have a tradition where we put keepsakes or items into the casket. I would have put my Han Solo in Bespin dress or gear, costume, whatever, uniform. I would have put him in the casket with my grandfather. I've got to get another one, but I just remember that. It's that memory. It's all those memories. From the first moment I saw the Biker Scout or the Scout Trooper, I loved the Scout. I just loved the design. This is like one of my favorite Imperial uniforms ever. I don't know why. There's just something about it that's just awesome. I want to get a loose 6-inch Biker Scout. I don't yet have that one. I do in box, but I didn't want to unbox it. Not a lot of discoloration here. I've got another one, mine, the one I grew up with, standing here in my play shop, and it is probably going to continue to stand there. It's okay to have duplicates. I don't mind. I don't think other people mind either, especially if they're selling them. Okay, so now on to the Ewoks. Tebow. I like the Ewoks. I'm color me someone who enjoyed the Ewoks. I watched the cartoons too. Although this, I gotta tell you, this Tebow, his hands must have tightened over time, because I can't, and this I'm fairly confident this is the original weapon. I can't get it into its hand. I mean, it's a newer Tebow. The one I had wasn't in bad shape necessarily, but I had lost the weapon. I have another Tebow standing on my Ewok shelf here in the play shop. You've probably seen that as well. So I just needed another one, Tebow, one of the Ewoks. We are the Ewoks, and we're living on the forest moon. We are the Ewoks. Lumats, not to be confused with Warrock. They look the same. I'm missing I have a good condition Warrock. I need his accessory. I mean, I could buy another duplicate, but I'd rather get the original, not a repro. And that's where it becomes a bit of a difficulty, finding the originals, not getting a repro and knowing that you're not getting sold up the river. Not all not all original weapons float, although that's a good way of detecting whether or not they do. In fact, Logray staff does not float or may not float, as opposed to other originals. And that's how usually you can tell whether or not something is a repro accessory or not, whether it floats. 2 more, and then I'll move on to the box that Hasbro sent. They acquired Kenner. We've got a Wicket. Yub dub. Complete with accessory. Do you guys? I'm going to ask my patrons. Do you want me to pull over my Anakin Skywalker? I've got him. I'm probably going to get another one of him though, so I can keep one showcased here in the play shop and then one downstairs in the collection. I remember opening this. Still have this one. No, I mean, don't have the coin anymore. I had the last. What do they call it? Last 17. I had them all. I had every one of them. New on card and everything. I got them for my birthday. And this is the Han Solo and Carbonite. One of them. As opposed to the one that came with the Slave one as well. I still have that one, but the stickers are not in great condition, so I may have to get another one. Had them all. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to them, because everything was in one box, one place, whatever. Somehow they got split up. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if someone absconded with some of my figures. I don't know if they got mixed up with another bag. I don't know if Mom's going to find them years from now somewhere. But it's kind of disappointing, because those are these are probably the newer ones, believe it or not, are worth more in some cases than the ones that were found in the Middle Ages of Star Wars figures. Those are my current new vintage figures for the vintage figure collection. I'm going to now move on to this. This arrived today. I don't know what's in it. Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. # Star Wars Day. Thank you, Hasbro, for everything. Let me go ahead and reach over and get my scissors. Hey, Liz, let me know did Nicole get my reply? I think she was hanging out. I was so glad this came in, too, because I'd seen it populating in my feed from other Star Wars content producers, and I thought, oh, man, am I going to get one? Am I going to get one? It's kind of neat. I almost want to save the box for something. I don't know for what. I mean, it got dinged up a bit. But still, it'd be kind of cool. It's a one-of-a-kind box. I really like the way they put boxes together. Okay, let's take a look together, shall we? Ooh! We got some lightsabers and Rey. Okay, we got Rey's lightsaber. And this nice... I guess it's kind of like a lithograph. Okay, so basically they're explaining the Blade Builder stuff. There we go. So I don't think I had... I mean, I had the Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker lightsaber, but I don't know if this is a different... Yeah, that's definitely a different blade there. Part of the Blade Builder series. Right there, Rey. So this is Rey's saber. But you can see, or if you can't see, that's more of a translucent versus the one that I had earlier, which is less translucent, more opaque, but the same styled hilt, which is great because then we can have a lightsaber upstairs and downstairs. We can have a different one wherever we are. So we got a couple of lightsabers. # Star Wars Day. Ow! Oh, my toe. And a new Kylo Ren lightsaber with that third component. But, oh, okay. So I guess I'm going to be building some lightsabers later for Star Wars Day. Ooh, look at that. I can be like Darth Maul there. That's cool. So you can get different sets and make your own lightsaber effectively. They all kind of click together in a different... It's kind of like the Lego of lightsabers, if you will, which is really neat. So you can walk 2 feet and then run into a different lightsaber. That sounds really bad. I'm not suggesting you should run into a lightsaber, but thank you, Hasbro. I appreciate it, as does Jedi. We are going to now continue our celebration of Star Wars Day together. And I just wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. As you very well know, I'm pretty much doing Star Wars content daily because I love it. It's where my heart is. It's part of being a father, a geek father, a kidult, growing up Star Wars, living the Star Wars lifestyle. It's something I love doing. Many of the geek calls I do are going to involve Star Wars, and I just love spending time talking about this stuff and hanging out with other people and connecting with other people who also love the fandom. So thank you for tuning in to my recent vintage figure haul and hearing why Star Wars Day means something to me. It's just a part of my life. I can't separate that at all and wouldn't want to ever. Okay, I'm going to move on and answer questions from my patrons, talk about today's news, including Star Wars news. I'm planning on getting onto Twitch and streaming some Star Wars pinball games. I got them at like half off. They're currently on sale on the PS or on the PlayStation Network. Got all the Star Wars pinball tables. So I'm planning on playing all the Star Wars pinball tables later today, live, for everybody. And can't wait for that. All right. If you want to hear the rest of TLDR and you would rather hear me talk about something else, well, this is your chance. Head over to chrispirillo.com and sign up to become a patron right now. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from chrispirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and support me at the same time, you can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through chrispirillo.com. Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and this is my family, my wife,
Diana,
and that's our daughter, Jedi. I'm the talker of the family, as of right now, although Jedi is getting more and more talkative with every passing day. We've been vlogging for about 1,500 days straight. I know, yeah, but you haven't even been alive that long. We've been happy to share our story with you, but to move forward, we're kind of looking for a little bit of a different kind of support. We're looking to continue the vlog as we've always done it, but now we are looking for you to become a patron. In doing so, you'll get even more of what you've been getting for the past few years.
we love doing the vlogs, but we're just looking to overcome a few challenges.
In other words, our vlog does not pay the bills. Vlogging may intersect with my career, but it's not the only thing I do for you on a daily basis, and it still takes a lot of effort. We love spending time with you, but we also love spending time with our daughter. We're trying to do both at the same time. Thanks. Is she patting me on the back or what?
If you'd like to help, check out geekfamilyfun.com.